Let me tell you something that might surprise you. There's one reason men remember an older woman long after the conversation ends, and it has nothing to do with how she looks. Have you ever felt invisible? Like no one really sees you, even though you've lived a good life, treated people with kindness, stayed sharp, stayed grounded? If so, you're not alone. And in the next few minutes, I want to show you something that most people never talk about, especially not when it comes to women over 50. Because the truth is, emotionally mature men, the kind you actually want in your life, are drawn to something completely different. Not beauty, not youth, but a type of presence, a type of energy. And yes, a few powerful behaviors that you can step into right now without changing who you are. And listen, do not miss the third point I'm going to share later on. That's the one that's helped more women get back into meaningful, lasting relationships. After years of thinking they'd aged out of the dating world, it's that powerful. So stay with me, because what you're about to hear could shift how you see yourself and how men respond to you for good. Most dating advice out there is written for 20-somethings. It's all about how to text back just right, how to look hotter, how to play it cool and keep him guessing. But let's be real. That advice? It's not made for you. You're not guessing anymore. You know what matters. You've built a life. You've had experiences, maybe even losses, and you've probably already spent years figuring out what you do not want. Still, there's this quiet, frustrating truth. A lot of women over 50 feel like they've become invisible in the dating world, and it's not because they don't have anything to offer, it's because no one taught them how to show up in a way that emotionally mature men notice and remember. See, a 2021 survey from Pew Research showed that over 57% of single men over 40 feel disconnected in modern dating. But here's the part that rarely gets mentioned. When those same men come across a woman who feels real to them, they think about her for weeks, sometimes longer, even if she isn't their usual type. Why? Because there's a difference between a woman who's trying to impress and one who's simply being fully herself in the most grounded, captivating way. That's the woman men remember. That's the woman we're going to talk about today. Let's start with something simple, but powerful. When a woman over 50 speaks with calm, direct honesty, without trying to soften her words or wrap them in layers of explanation, it grabs attention. Not because she's trying to be bold, but because that kind of clarity is rare and incredibly attractive. There's no guesswork, no mixed signals, no trying to decode hidden meanings behind a text. She might say something like, "I'm not into unclear dating. If you're looking for something casual or confusing, I'm not your person." That sentence alone, it's unforgettable. Not because it's dramatic, but because it's solid. There's a kind of energy in that. It's not loud. It's not aggressive. It's calm. It says, "I know who I am. I'm not afraid to speak it, and I don't need you to validate it." And here's what most people don't realize. Men respond to this kind of energy in ways they often don't even understand. It makes them feel safe, seen, and strangely, challenged in the best possible way. You're not auditioning. You're not trying to win points. You're just being real, without shrinking, without explaining yourself into the ground. And that's the difference between someone who gets ghosted and someone who lingers in a man's mind long after the date ends. Next, let's talk about something that turns heads without a word being said. A woman who has her own life and keeps it. There is something magnetic about a woman who does not drop everything the moment someone shows interest. A woman who already has plans, routines, passions, and still makes space for someone without losing herself in the process. Picture this. A man asks, "Can we grab dinner tomorrow?" And she says calmly, "I have yoga on Wednesday and a hike planned this weekend. Friday after class would work better for me." That sentence might sound simple, but it lands hard. It tells him, without saying it outright, that she values her time. She has a rhythm, and she's not rearranging her world to chase anyone. Men respect that. Not because they want to compete for your time, but because it shows them something crucial. You do not need to be chosen. You have already chosen your life. And if they want to be part of it, they need to show up with real presence. A long-term study from the University of Michigan followed over 700 couples and found something fascinating. The happiest men, the ones most satisfied in their relationships, had partners who maintained their own independent interests. Hobbies, friendships, routines. The more whole and grounded the woman was, the deeper the man's attraction became. Why? Because no one wants to feel like they are someone's entire purpose. It is too much pressure. And honestly, it is not healthy love. You are not the missing piece in someone else's puzzle. You are the extra spark, the bonus, the part that makes a good life better, not the reason it exists in the first place. That kind of presence, it is irresistible because it signals strength, stability, and depth. And trust me, when a man sees you honoring your own time, he starts treating it as valuable too. Ready for the next one? Because in part 3, we are going to talk about flirting, not the over-the-top kind, not the uncomfortable kind. I mean the smart, subtle, confident kind. The kind that makes a man smile without even realizing why. This is where older women have an edge most don't even realize they have. You do not need to be seductive. You do not need to lean in or dress a certain way. Flirting, when done right, is about energy. It is about playfulness, ease, and confidence, without expectations. It is that tiny smile you give when he makes a bad joke. It is the moment you pause, hold eye contact just a little longer, and say something like, "I work in a field that keeps people curious, but I only explain it to someone patient enough to make it to date number 2. That line, delivered with a soft smile, it does not pressure him. It does not corner him. It invites curiosity. It creates tension, not the kind that makes people anxious, but the kind that makes them want to lean in. You see, most conversations, especially in dating, swing too far one way or the other. They are either too surface level and boring, or too heavy and serious. What men crave, but rarely find, is a space that feels light but real at the same time. And that is where smart flirting shines. It says, "I'm here, I'm paying attention, I am not performing for you, but I'm open to connection, if you can meet me in this space." And when you do that with no pressure, no rush, no hidden agenda, something in him relaxes. He starts to enjoy the moment instead of calculating the outcome. That is why this works. Because it is not about being impressive. It is about being present. And that kind of energy, it is rare and unforgettable. Now, get ready, because part 4 is where everything changes. What I'm about to share next is something no man will admit he is watching for, but they all do. And once you understand it, you will see why it is the quiet test that separates a passing interest from someone worth remembering. It is about setting your standards, not by demanding, not by lecturing, but by simply stating your truth, calmly, clearly, without apology. It might sound like this: I am not in a rush, but I do not do confusion. If this is not going anywhere, I would rather know early. That one line, it sticks, because it is honest, it is respectful, and most of all, it is clear. The truth is, men do not remember the woman who said yes to everything. They remember the one who quietly expected more, not just from them, but from life. The woman who was willing to walk away rather than water herself down. Why? Because clarity creates impact, and impact creates memory. A case study from the Gottman Institute found that relationships where women clearly expressed their boundaries from the start were over 40% more likely to last. That is not a small number. That is a huge shift caused by something as simple as knowing what you stand for and not wavering from it. When you set standards like that, you send a signal, not "you need to earn me" in a prideful way, but "this is who I am, and this is how I move through the world, and here is what makes that powerful." You are not trying to impress him. You are not trying to get him to choose you. You are already chosen by you. And he either rises to meet that, or he doesn't. Either way, you stay centered. That kind of woman, she is not easy to forget, because she is not trying to be remembered. She is just being real, and that is exactly what makes her unforgettable. So let me bring this full circle. You do not have to make anyone fall for you. You do not need to perform, to chase, or to prove your worth. The real shift happens when you live in alignment with who you already are, confidently, calmly, and without apology. Because when you do that, something changes. People feel it. They notice. And the ones who matter, they respect it. If you have ever told yourself that getting older makes you less attractive, I want you to challenge that thought right now. Because attraction is not about age. It never was. It is about energy. It is about how you carry yourself, how you speak, how you value your own time, and how you set the tone for what you allow in your life. When you own your value, others will feel it, even before you say a word. So, if today's message spoke to something in you, I want to hear from you. Leave a comment and tell me what part hit home the most, or just drop a 1 if you are ready to show up fully as yourself, starting now. And if you want more real, honest insight like this, subscribe to this channel. No fluff, no gimmicks, just grounded, empowering conversations for women who are done shrinking and ready to own every part of who they are. You are not behind. You are not past your prime. You are becoming in the most powerful way. And trust me, the right people will see it. Before you go, I want to hear from you. If you have already been doing one of these 4 things we talked about today, drop a number 1 in the comments. Let the rest of us know You are already walking in that kind of confidence. And if something you heard today sparked a little curiosity in you, if it made you want to try again, show up a little differently, or open yourself back up, comment with a number 2. That tells me you are still in the game, still growing, still open. And if this episode helped you see your value a little more clearly, hit that subscribe button. That one small action keeps this space growing and helps other women, just like you, find their way back to their power. And if someone comes to mind, someone who needs to hear this, share it with her. Sometimes all it takes is one conversation to remind someone who she really is. You are not alone in this. You never were. I will see you in the next episode.